Big love to my dog, It's Hidden Leaf, for coming through and sponsoring your boy on the Patreon. Anyone else who wants to join the team, receive exclusive daily content, interact with the YB, patreon.com/the YB, link in the description. As you can see on your screen now, Wladimir Klitschko is apparently on the verge of making a comeback. This article was made by World Boxing News, and it says the following. Wladimir Klitschko continues to test the comeback waters ahead of possible clashes with the big three heavyweights in the sport. Recently putting out the feelers in a trio of social media posts, Klitschko is looking into potential blockbuster battles with old foes AJ, Fury and WBC ruler Chicken Legs. Should Klitschko make a return at 44 years old during the first quarter of 2020, a warm-up must be in the order of the day. Not only are Joshua, Fury and Wilder tied up for the immediate future, but most of the top contenders would almost certainly be reluctant to step in the ring with Klitschko without seeing where he's at following an almost 3-year absence. The likes of Dillian White, Alexander Povetkin and Michael Hunter would be present on any shortlist. That's if Klitschko signs with Matchroom, Boxing USA and Dazn. But there is one annoyance who should be taken care of before anyone else. That man is Shannon the Cannon Briggs. The Cannon has been stalking Klitschko for years. Evident are several comical videos posted up on the gram and other platforms over the years. From a food fight to gym chauffeuring incidents, culminating in a Laurel and Hardy style boat chase. The pair have enjoyed a weird relationship over the years. Therefore, with Briggs remaining hopeful of landing one more shot at the big time and Klitschko needing to gauge his current level, the clash makes complete sense. Forget the fact Briggs has just turned 1,000,000 years old, as the American has always... Forget the fact Briggs has turned 48 years old. The American has always been in magnificent shape and takes good care of himself, aka juiced out of his mind. Add to the fact DAZN is currently pushing YouTubers fighting on their service, and it seems anything goes. A free fight plan. Klitschko versus Briggs in a US state craving... Klitschko versus Briggs in a US state craving a big... Klitschko versus Briggs in a US state craving a big boxing event could be the order of the day for the coming first quarter of the new decade. A good win for Dr. Venus could push him nicely towards those three understudies, Joshua, Wilder and Fury. Eventually this could mean Klitschko faces most likely AJ at the end of 2020. That free fight deal is just sitting on the desk in the DAZN offices. It's waiting for the time Klitschko feels he needs to grab his pen. Should he do so, an ideal opponent with firm crosshairs fixed on the 3-time world champion patiently lies in wait. There we go, an exclusive news article there from World Boxing News. Now, what are my thoughts? In fact, I actually did report on this when Klitschko posted up on the gram, on Twitter, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now. In fact, it was after AJ versus Ruiz. After AJ versus Ruiz, Klitschko came out, posted up a poll on his Twitter, Vlad versus Fury, Vlad versus Wilder, and Vlad versus AJ. Scarily enough, I think the vast majority, 2/3 of people wanted to see Vlad versus Fury. The next best was Vlad versus Wilder, I think it was. And the last best was Vlad versus AJ. And I was very shocked, just based on the fact that AJ is the most famous, essentially. I thought fans would want to see that. But then again, we saw how AJ did Klitschko. The first man to stop Klitschko, as an example, murked him off. So in reality, there wasn't much of a competitive intrigue. Vlad versus... And I actually agree. To be honest with you, I'd rather see Vlad versus Wilder. I just want to see Wilder get in there with someone half sharp. Vlad even at 44. Vlad at 44 would be the best person on Wilder's resume, full stop. Even including Fury. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. For me, Wilder's Achilles heel is not can he beat a boxer. It's can he beat someone who can hit as hard as him, or can hurt someone, essentially. Wilder's never been in there with anyone who has got proven hurtability. Klitschko ticks that box, and I'd rather see a a 44-year-old Klitschko, because let's get it right. Arguably, the way Klitschko was bouncing around the ring against AJ, arguably Klitschko's less shot than Fury at this point. Let's get it right. Show me a fight where Klitschko went life and death with someone the caliber of Otto Wallin. Just show me it. Show me the fight. Because when Klitschko got in the ring with the caliber of Otto Wallin, they got murked. Whether he was 40 or not. Look at Pulev, for example. Pulev is leaps above Otto Wallin. Klitschko played with him. And by the way, at that point, even when Klitschko played with Pulev, he was about 35 years old. My point is, Klitschko at 44 is less shot than Fury is. Facts. And that's what makes Klitschko at 44 versus Wilder an interesting fight. But unfortunately, Klitschko don't have no belts, so Wilder ain't going to go anywhere near him. In fact, even if he had belts, look at AJ, for example. AJ has all the belts, and Wilder don't want none of it. So Dillian White, he don't have no belts, and Wilder can avoid him. So this whole Klitschko situation, in reality, Wilder will never fight him. The only time Wilder will fight him is if, I don't know, I'm not even sure. I can't even tell you what circumstances he would fight him, but the fact of the matter is, World Boxing News are now reporting a 3-fight deal is on Vladimir Klitschko's desk. And I think it's a great shout. And I think we've heard from Klitschko over the years, or over the recent years, since his defeat to AJ, and he said several things. Most notably, it's the whole George Foreman thing. I think George Foreman, was he 49 or 48? One of them two. And that's what I think Klitschko's going for. So Klitschko at 44, I think he's probably still going to try and drag it out, if that makes sense. I think he really wants it. I've heard him say himself, he's said if he does come back, he doesn't want to just come back, he wants to actually achieve something. Now, the WBC belt, he never owned that. That could be a potential kind of thing to achieve. Wilder. But Wilder ain't going to want none of that. Even though they've got the same manager, he ain't going to want none of that. But put that to one side. The other thing, like I said, is the whole George Foreman situation. And that's what I want to see. Yeah? Come back at 40. To be honest, I don't really want to see that, but I want to see him going there wild. That's what I want to see. But 49, even Klitschko at 49, I'm taking that over Ortiz. I'm taking that over Bumzeel. I'm taking that over everyone on his resume, even including Fury. I'm sorry, I just am. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking him over all of them, no doubt. Even at 49, even at 59, Ortiz is 75. Yeah, so it's one of them ones. But like I said, the 3-fight deal, it should happen. Even at 49, he is still one of the top 10. Even at 49, Klitschko would come back and still be easily in the top 10. If in reality he's top 5. Klitschko now is still top 5. Not only in terms of skill and ability, but also in terms of pulling power. Who's going to pull more than Klitschko? AJ. And that's about it. AJ and then the rest of them. AJ is in a level of his own. Then you've got Wilder, Fury, Dillian White and Klitschko all in their own little level. That's what it comes down to. If we call a spade, that's it. Yeah? You've got the creme de la creme, and then you've got the B-level kind of dons. And they're all mixed in there. Like I said, I've named the names already. So he comes right back in, and I don't see why not. It's not like his last performance was a shocker. He gave a great account of himself. And anyone else on that night, if Wilder had been in there on that night, if Wilder had took that right hand off Vlad, he would have been still on his back now. We've seen his brother. His brother just got merkled by some random don called Dustin Long. Never heard of him before. Yeah? Wilder's chin is compromised. He don't want to have it touched. And that's why when Fury mentioned about how, oh yes, Deontay Wilder, you're gonna get it, you're getting it. What happened then? Wilder stopped turning up to press conferences, started cacking his jocks, thinking, oh man, I thought Fury was gonna run. Oh, what if Fury stands and fights? What if Fury does me like he does Steve Cunningham? That's what I'm hearing now from Wilder's camp. That he's scared that Fury's going to come in there and treat him like he did Steve Cunningham. Yeah, we've seen what Fury can do to blown up cruiserweights. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. That said, if he goes in there and tries to run around the place, he gets knocked out. But anyway, Vlad, absolutely come back. What else you doing? Yeah, your wife's left you. No, that's the facts. Let's not call it a spade. Your wife's left you. Nothing else going on. And in this day and age, when you've been an athlete your whole life, there's nothing wrong with coming back. I mean, of course, I think you should come back until, if you come back, have a comeback fight against Shannon Briggs, and that's another thing as well. I think that's a great shout. I want to see that fight. I'm all about seeing good fights. Like, as an example, we've got the Jake Paul versus Anderson Gibb situation heating up. That fight's taking place on January 30th. I love these kind of fights. I love fights, yeah, which give me genuine intrigue. I'm not interested in, he's not even a pro. I want to see fights where there's needle, where there's two men who have got stuff to lose, where there's two men who want it. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in, he's got a big name, and I want to see two men get in there and actually have a bit of needle between each other. Jake Paul versus Anderson Gibb will be better than 99% of other professional fights. When you see Dubois versus Fujimoto, Jake Paul versus Anderson Gibb is levels above Dubois versus Fujimoto, and it's as simple as that. Certain man can get sour about it. It's the truth. I'd rather watch. I didn't even watch Fujimoto. I only watched it so I could put it on YouTube. Yeah, get some bread. That's the only reason I watched Daniel Dubois fight, was to review it. Simple as that. I had no intrigue whatsoever. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, I will tune in and watch the Jake Paul versus Anderson Gibb. The same can't be said for many actual professional boxing fights. And that puts them man to shame. The fact YouTubers have rocked in here and put on, and are consistently putting on, more interesting competition than full-time boxers. Certain man need to look at themselves. Wilder versus Ortiz as an example. The only reason I watched that was because, in fact, I woke up, I missed the first 3 or 4 rounds actually. Didn't even set an alarm. It just so happened, I woke up and thought, oh yeah, the fight's on. Let me put it on. Bang. That's the only reason I watched that, was to review it as well. I had more intrigue for KSI versus Logan Paul, and more intrigue for Jake Paul versus Anderson Gibb than I did Ortiz versus Wilder. Simple as that. I'm afraid to say, you man can be sour, but that just says a lot about Wilder not wanting to fight no one. Now, are these fights more interesting than Deontay Wilder versus Dillian White? Absolutely not. But he don't want to take them fights. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Klitschko, the very nice versus Shannon Briggs. That fight, interesting. It's got needle. We've got that key element that a lot of fights are missing these days, is needle. Two people who've got a lot to lose. You've got Shannon Briggs, who's been talking a whole gang these last 10 years. You've got Klitschko, who's not got the best whiskers. Older, but they're both old, to be fair. That's the great thing. When you've got two old men, I want to see it. Both have got arguably questionable gas tanks. So let's get it on. Why not? What's going on? And also, you got Shannon Briggs now. Shannon Briggs thought he was going to be nice. He thought he was going to be working with Jake Paul and Logan Paul for the rest of his life. Now he's found out he's been kicked out of the camp. He's going to have to start thinking about his income again. So I think it works great for all men. And also, that there will be a great fight to see where Klitschko's at. I would back Klitschko to win. He's been more of an athlete. He's been more active, etc., etc. I think he did his brother. Who did Vitaly beat up? I think Vitaly beat Briggs up as well, but yeah, I think he did. Or no, maybe it was Lennox Lewis. Definitely did. I think maybe one of them did. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, it will be an interesting fight. The build-up will be interesting, and the fight will be interesting. Let's get it on. Let's get some of these things bubbling. Yeah, I don't want to be seeing no more goofy stuff no more. Klitschko come back, come in the mix. The mix is. I think there's more people needed in the mix. You've got at the moment, the AJ, Dillian White, Wilder, Fury. Who have you got? Then it's kind of a bit dry, isn't it? There's no one. You've got the main 4, and then that's about it. Ruiz, I guess you throw in there as well. Outside of the top 5, yeah, more the merrier anyway. Even if there was a load of people, you can never, as a boxing fan, we can never turn down good quality in the division. Never. Yeah, never at all. Even if we saw, it's not likely to happen, but even if we saw Klitschko versus Daniel Dubois, that'd be an interesting fight. Let's see what level this dude's at. Yeah, let's test people out. Rather than talking, let's start getting these kind of characters in there, in decent fights. Oh, Daniel Dubois fighting another stiff again, Fujimoto. Who wants to see that? Let's see Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. Let's see Daniel Dubois versus Michael Hunter. Let's see Daniel Dubois versus what's his name, Martin Bakole. That's what needs to be happening now, Frank. And to be fair, when you look around, Eddie Hearn's the one putting good shows on. And Eddie Hearn's it's how peak it is, Frank Warren. Eddie Hearn's putting on YouTube shows which are genuinely more interesting than Frank Warren's 10 out of 10 cards. Frank Warren's Dubois card is a 10 out of 10 card. Daniel Dubois is Frank Warren's #1 prospect. Yeah? And Eddie Hearn's putting on YouTube shows, which are more interesting than his #1 prospect. Oh yeah, the other guy, what's his name? Tommy Fury. I'm going to do a video talking about this. Tommy Fury fought a man. His last fight was a man who was 2-26. He had lost 96% of his fights. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Frank Warren's got no shame whatsoever. No shame at all. Anyway, Vlad, if you hear this, come back. Light it up, go and stick it on Wilder's. If I was, listen, any heavyweight fighter listening to this, put it on Wilder. He don't want it. Go in there and stick it on his whiskers. His Eritrean chin ain't developed. It's not. It's too pointy. Yeah, he's gonna get chipped and he's going to sleep, no doubt. Anyway,